to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Morning Throners podcast. We're here talking Bran 6 again, and Nelson's just the worst.
Yep.
I'm tired of talking to him.
What'd I do?
Nelson didn't record. He pulled a Glow.
Yeah, I recorded somehow the first minute, which is just us doing the syncing of our audio and the intro, and then it cut off. And there was no way to fix it. So here we are re-recording Bran, the non-spoiler part. The spoiler part's fine. So if there might be I think there's actually I think there's a bunch of times in the spoiler section, because I already edited that, where me, Jeff, and Glow and I are like, oh, we kind of touched on this a little bit in the non-spoiler section, and we're probably just not even going to touch on some of that stuff now, so it's not going to make any sense. But if that happens, this is why. That's why. And if we're not as crazy, even though not crazy much happens in this anyway, that's why as well. Before we go into this chapter, Kyle, what happened in the last Bran chapter? Do you remember? It was probably a while ago. A long while ago.
Give me a location.
So they're in the woods.
Oh, yeah. When he gets hit by the wildlings, right? And when one of them is a wall deserter as well. And
yeah, at least one or two were wall deserters.
Yeah, and they all attack him on his own because Robb rode off to go hunt, and they left him alone, pretty much, right?
Yep.
Well, he kind of wandered off.
Theon saves him from the last guy, and one of the wildlings lives.
Yeah, and Summer fucks him.
Summer and the wolves. Summer and Grey
she's
eating
guts. Yeah.
Yeah. How many did they add to the tallies there?
They each had I think one had 2, and the other I think Grey one had 3, and Summer had 2. But Summer already had one because of the guy that she saved with Bran.
But yeah, Osha, you see her later in this chapter. That she's one of the ones that
shows up again in this chapter. Yep.
So to paint the picture of where we're at now.
Yep.
All right, Ned is in prison.
Yes, and the last thing
that
Bran
of Winterfell.
And Bran talks about, but a little later, and we'll get into it, that they've heard all kinds of crazy shit. They heard that Ned's dead, that Ned went south with Renly, that Ned killed Robert, that Ned is in the dungeons. They've even heard shit that Rhaegar is back. They heard that Tywin Lannister's attacking the Eyrie. But I guess recently they got the letter from Sansa. That says what's actually happening. Ned's in the dungeons, accused for treason. So they do have that information. And at this point, I think also in the last it must have been the last Bran chapter, Robb calls the banners, right? Because the banners are arriving. Isn't he talking to Theon?
We don't know that. We just kind of imply it based off of all the people showing up here. Why are all the bannermen showing up because they called the banners?
Between Bran's last chapter.
That's my guess.
Nelson doesn't know what he's talking about. So, getting back to where we're at, Robb is calling the banners, and I don't remember if these are one of the last people to arrive.
Yeah, it is the last.
So the very last people to arrive, and they're the Karstarks. They bring 300 horsemen and almost 2,000 men on foot. And up in front is Lord Rickard Karstark, followed by his sons Harrison, Eddard, and Torrin.
Yep. Good memory, Jeff.
Good job, Jeff.
I read the books once or twice.
So they say that the Starks are, or that the Karstarks are related to the Starks, but Bran thinks that they don't really look that similar.
They're beefy.
These guys are what I think of kind of when I think of the Northmen, or what you think of people who live in this area.
Barbaric.
Yeah, kind of more barbaric, bigger, beards, long hair.
Pelts.
And then he says that they're already here. He asks Lewin, I think, how many total they have, and he says 12,000. And he wants to go out. So I think he describes how they all don't fit in the castle, obviously. So the winter town that they saw, I think in the last chapter when Bran was walking
when they
out.
when they rode out.
When they rode out to before they got attacked by the wildlings, and how he said it was mostly empty. That's pretty full and bustling now, and Bran wants to go see it. But Robb's not having any of it.
No, it's not Robb. Oh yeah, it is Robb, and Maester Lewin as well, though.
Robb's just not letting him do anything.
So what's Robb's BS excuse here?
They don't have anybody to watch him. They have nobody to guard him.
There's not enough guards.
Yeah, even though there's 12,000
There's literally
people.
12,000 men.
Yeah, but they don't trust all of them. But
part of his point is there was a fight between the Boltons and the Serwins last night.
And shit. Yeah.
So he doesn't it's not that he doesn't trust his men, but you can't just set a kid out on a field of soldiers and hope that nothing bad happens.
In the wild,
especially a differently able kid can't defend himself.
If anything, I feel like that would make him more safe because it's like obvious that it's obvious who he is. Like everyone
they take him.
Like he's the star.
Take him and hold him for ransom.
I feel like if you were a lord in a camp, even if he had his legs, there'd be more like he'd be at more risk of just like getting trampled by like people racing on a horse or something. Not like somebody actually causing ill will because they're all like he's like the prince, right? I mean, maybe there's mischievous people, but like I was thinking more just like by accident. But I think like people will be
just fuck up a crippled boy.
I feel like they'd be more cautious around him because he's a crippled boy and they know just because they know who he is. It's like that's obviously Bran Stark.
He's gonna be wearing like a sick ass Stark.
Yeah,
and he's also got Hodor pushing him around.
He's not like Arya running around in like dirty clothes and fucking matted hair and shit. Bran's gonna look fucking tight, other than he can't use his legs.
I mean, this is obviously just him and explaining the impact this is having on him.
Yeah, but I mean, like whatever it is, Bran's like, it doesn't matter if we don't have men. I got Summer, like the fucking wolf will protect me, and Rob just not hearing any of it. He says no. It's like that's final word. It's over.
He used his Lord voice or whatever, Lord Rob voice.
Is this when Rob or Bran and Lewin start talking about knights? Or is that later on?
Yeah, it's now. It's because when he's talking about how many people there are, and he said how many knights, and he said it doesn't really matter because we don't have them up here anyway because we don't have the 12,000 men are near enough. Makes no matter how many knights, few enough. The Maester said to be a knight, you got to stand vigil on the sept and be in front of the seven gods. They have the old gods, they all worship. So we have people that are just as good as knights, but they don't have it, sir.
Yep, exactly.
Because we from the north, dog.
People of the north are worth 10 of
I think we learned otherwise.
Don't tell Arya that.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, what houses are we here? Like he says like the houses and the sigils and everything, but you can just say the houses.
Yep. So House Glover, Mormont, Bolton, Hornwood, Serwyn, Talhart, and Umber.
Yeah.
Dude.
And Karstark's one that's arriving now. And Stark.
All this is off the top of my head too. They so isn't Maester Lewin like quizzing Bran as they come in, like, oh, whose sigil is that? Who is this? What's that guy's name? Who's the High Lord? Kind of just like continuing on his studies as a Prince of Winterfell.
I think as they came in, he was just commenting on.
Yeah, he like noticed
sigils.
how he like knew them all. Like I think a few times in this chapter they kind of like, and maybe like in other Bran chapters they point out he is like kind of clever for how young he is. And Lewin even says that later. He says like, "Oh, you can be a maester," and a maester's like, because Bran's like, "I want to be a knight," and Lewin's like, "Well, maesters are called the Knights of the Mind," which is just like a BS answer to a kid who wants to be a knight.
Yeah, it's such a lame thing. So,
and he's like, "You're a clever boy. Like you could be a maester," and I think like Bran is pretty, I don't know, like wise for his age, clever for his age. I mean, just the fact that he remembers all these houses and their sigils.
I mean,
it's fucking six different houses.
Maths.
It's just like a kid. It's just like royalty privilege. He's getting tutored by a maester.
He's got a lot of free time now that he can't really go anywhere.
That's true too.
Like a lot of time to study and read books, and like it really would fit what he got. I mean, the hand he's been dealt, but I mean, I'm not saying he can't do other stuff, obviously, but
well, Tyrion said that too. Like when Jon asked him why he read so much, he says, "My brother has a sword, and I have my mind." And he said, "Books need a." Mine needs books, like sword needs a whetstone. Yeah. And that's Bran now. Bran doesn't have a sword anymore. Good analogy there, Kyle, or me. Whoever thought of that, probably me, because I'm a genius. All right,
going down.
They're talking about why Bran doesn't want. We like here throughout this chapter, it's just like echoed. Bran does not want Robb to go, and then even towards the end of the chapter, he does want Robb to go, but he wants him to go north. And Lewin here starts explaining to Robb like why, or to Bran why they have to be leaving, right? Like why they're going to be leaving.
Yeah, I mean, and the big one, really, other than that, there's fighting going on, is they don't have enough food to survive.
Well, they don't have enough food to feed 12,000 men in this one castle for an extended period of time.
And winter's coming, so
yeah, that's true. Winter is coming.
So they don't have enough food for these people, but don't these people all fill this town during the winter? So how does that make sense?
No, it's so all the banners are there.
Okay, I got you.
I think just like the farmers that are around Winterfell, like just the immediate people come in the winter.
Well, also, I don't know. I don't know if that's true. It might be what Kyle said, but and I don't think we ever hear this in the books, but in the show in the later seasons that are past the books, there's a point where when when Sansa like tells people to bring food to Winterfell. She says like, when you come here, bring your own fucking food because we don't have food for you. So like, I don't think they did that in this occasion because I don't think it's like that necessary. But supposedly a castle should have enough food to supply their men, right? So even if you bring all the people to one place, as long as they bring that food supply with them, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, but for how long is still the question.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. They didn't bring food here, so now they can't stay long at this moment. But like when you're talking about for like a winter scenario, I think they could use Wintertown.
You're bringing all your stores.
Yeah, I think they could use Wintertown like Kyle's saying. You just bring your food with you, which they're not doing.
I mean,
now.
I just don't think it's big enough.
Yeah,
I think Wintertown is for like,
that's fair.
Like I said, the farmers that are there, and
yeah, I'm not sure.
So
I'll accept.
It's not like Vaestal Threk, where there's like a bunch of areas for
each group has its own houses and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
Vaestal Stack would be way cooler.
That's fine. I'm good. I'm good with
so
that.
what's Bran's next destination here?
Godswood.
This is where he leaves.
Godswood Bowl.
And mode of transportation to
Hodor's
Godswood.
basket.
Via Hodor.
He's got a new. Well, so he was getting carried around like a baby before, but now he's got a new gizmo, like a new
sweet little wicker basket.
He's like Yoda riding Luke.
Exactly, like Yoda riding Luke like a baby basket. Yeah, exactly.
But he looks like a noodle, and everyone's making fun of him.
He says it's less bad than when he was being carried by a baby.
Yeah,
but still he doesn't like it.
I mean,
but he says something that's like, again, like pretty wise here. He thinks to himself, is Maester Luwin tells him like people will stare and like gawk at you or whatever, and he's like, well, let them gawk. He's like, they won't gawk if I stay in my bedroom, but I'm not going to live my life in my bedroom. Yeah. That's like a pretty like.
Yeah, someone just kind of come to terms with what happened to him. But
I don't know, for a 7-year-old kid, or is he 9? 7.
I like how he's saying that he's only a few years younger than Rob.
Yeah, Rob's 15, right?
Yeah,
he's half Rob's age.
Yeah, he's not quite.
Yeah,
he's like he's almost a man.
Know,
so
he's
that makes me
it.
almost a man.
Yeah, he's stretching.
Rob just would. I mean, even before Bran was paralyzed, just beat the shit out of him. Like,
well, yeah,
there's a huge difference between just thinking now a freshman in high school or a third grader.
Well, even like the part where in that Arya chapter where she and Jon watched them fight over the bridge, didn't they say like, yeah, Rob and Joffrey were fighting with like wooden swords, but like they still like were fighting, where Bran and Tommen were like bundled up like the kids from the Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Right. And that just shows you like that he's not fucking Rob yet. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, he kind of thinks higher of himself than he should, which I mean is a 7-year-old.
Yeah. So how do they encounter? They have some encounters with the Karstark men on the way to the Godswood. How's that go, Glow?
Aren't they gawking at him? So they start looking at him, and I think the one guy said like he's a coward, like
that's later on. That is the Karstarks, but that's the son saying that when he feasts them at the end.
That's a feast, right?
But yeah, you're right. They're like gawking at him, but then he whistles for Summer.
Oh yeah, then don't they? Yeah, they get like real scared.
All the horses get scared.
Yeah, all the horses start going crazy, and like I don't think it says anything about it, but like Bran's got to just be like smiling to himself, like "fuck you guys." Like, yeah, I'm a cripple, but I got this fucking sick ass dog that would kill you all.
And he's riding Hodor.
Did we skip over the part with Rickon, or we're about to get that, right?
No, yeah, we're about to get there.
Okay. Well, we find out what's going on with Rickon.
Yeah, so Bran ends up getting to the Godswood with Hodor.
Yep.
Hodor puts him down to the heart tree, and Bran starts thinking about how he used to be like not comfortable with the gods, but now lately he's like really attached to the Godswood. Yeah,
so he says he always liked the God's wood. Yeah, he said he always liked the God's wood, but he used to not like the God tree. Yeah, the heart tree. He used to creep him out. Yeah. But now he says felt like he's been like drawn to the God's wood, and he doesn't even mind the heart tree anymore.
He basically likes it now. And
so he like pulls himself up out of his basket. Hodor puts him on the ground, and then Hodor like dips.
Goes to the hot spring.
Goes naked and go in a hot tub.
Just loves the hot boiling water.
And he like thinks to himself about what's going on with Rickon.
Well, he's like, please make it so Rob doesn't leave, and then make it so Rickon understands. And then he goes into this like thing about Rickon is like, he's punching old Dan. He's fucking crying and screaming all the time.
He ran away.
He disappeared. And then they found him in the crypts with like a king's old rusted ass sword. Like
trying to
fight everybody off. And Shaggy Dog bit like a couple people.
And he's a 3-year-old?
Yeah, 3.
That's
crazy
ridiculous.
he could even
Fucking
lift
badass
It's crazy he
three-year-old,
could even
right?
lift a sword. It had to be rusted.
Yeah.
as fuck.
They said it was almost.
I mean, it had to be like half a sword.
yeah, I'm sure it was nothing. It was probably.
And a 3-year-old, like, I mean, I guess 3-year-olds can walk really well, but
Is
kind
it
of
Order
well.
Kings on the bottom or on the top?
I don't know.
I would assume you'd put them at the top so you could keep going down.
That's what I thought too, but I feel like they did it the opposite way because I feel like I've thought about it before. And I'm like, why the fuck would they do it this way?
You'd
That's
run
stupid.
out of
You're gonna
space.
run out of space.
Yeah.
But I guess you can always just keep going. Keep
I mean, you
mining
can always
forward.
go back down if you want.
You just keep mining forward unless you hit lava.
Then your shit's all out of order. You gotta move dead bodies around.
Good one, Nelson.
Until you hit lava.
Lava, yeah.
You Minecraft nerds.
Is this when the fucking wildling girl comes out, or is there more shit here?
she's about to come. He starts thinking about that, and he like looks up, and he's like, "I wonder if they hear me." And then I don't know if he's wondering that, but then Osha comes up and says, "Do you hear that? They're listening to you." Or they're
I think we
talking
skipped a
back to
bunch.
you.
Yeah, so it goes to like they talk about Shaggy Dog being chained up, and then they talk about Lewin telling Rob to stay at Winterfell, and Bran's begging him as well, and like hoping that helps with Rickon, because he's already freaking out. And he says, "I don't want to go, I have to." And he's like, it was only half a lie. He could have probably sent somebody else, but then he said, Ned would have went. He wouldn't have stayed here while his guys went and died. He's like, I had to go. I have to.
Goes, yeah.
And then it goes into.
And this is the best part of the chapter is when everyone wants to be the
part.
vanguard, right?
Yeah, yep. And then it goes into that stuff. Yep.
So we get a little bit of. Is this like Bran recollecting it? I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still at the Godswood, right?
And all of the main houses want the honor of leading the men into battle once they get there, right? And
Well, I don't know if that's exactly what everyone wants out of him. It says they all
at
try
least
to
Bruce
test him.
Bolton and Robert Glover both demanded the honor of battle command.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Which I would assume would be the vanguard, and then even the lady Mage Mormont, which we know Mormont,
I
right,
bet you.
Kyle?
I don't even think this is the Vanguard. I bet you this is just like you're fucking 15. I should be the leader, not you.
Yeah,
I bet you it's
that's
almost
true.
that.
Yeah, when it's battle commander, it's probably
It's like a freaking the general.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, the one that's
Vanguard's
actually
different than General.
Okay. I don't know
I'm
the Vanguard.
not saying the leader of the Vanguard. The Vanguard's the front line.
The
Yeah, but
Vanguard
like
is
when you
stuff I
give
don't know yet.
somebody. Yeah, when you give somebody the lead of the Vanguard, it's like honor. And a lot of times, like lords will later in these books, lords will fight over the position of Vanguard in different armies. But then there's other lords who are definitely like just standing on the back of a hill watching a battle while the Vanguard runs forward in front of them, right? So being battle commander is not the same as being lord of the Vanguard. Just want to clarify, that, but you're right. I think
They
they're trying
have been
to
doing.
do battle commander, not even Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There was other shit too, like they're trying to marry
Few of them are turning
daughters
into
to
Mary.
Rob's,
Yeah.
and everyone's just kind of like, Rob, you little like boy bitch, like you don't know shit. Like I'm gonna take control.
They're treating
here.
him like a
this is
15-year-old, and he's acting above his age.
Lord Rob.
Yeah.
Lord Rob. Exactly.
And
And
then
then-
Globe Great John comes in. What happens?
Do we want to read this one?
And when Lord Umber, who was called the Great John by his men, and stood as tall as Hodor and twice as wide, threatened to take his forces home if he was placed behind the Hornwoods or the Cerwins in the order of march, Rob told him he was welcome to do so.
And when we were done with the Lannisters,
He promised, scratching Greywind behind the ear.
we will march back north, root you out of your keep, and hang you for an oathbreaker.
Cursing the Great John, flung a flagon of ale into the fire and bellowed that Rob was so green he must piss grass. When Hallis Mullen moved to restrain him, he knocked him to the floor, kicked over a table, and unsheathed the biggest, ugliest greatsword that Bran had ever seen. All along the benches, his sons and brothers and sworn swords leapt to their feet, grabbing for their steel. Yet Rob only said a quiet word, and in a snarl and the blink of an eye, Lord Umber was on his back, his sword spinning on the floor 3 feet away, and his hand dripping blood where Greywind had bitten off 2 fingers.
My lord father taught me that it was death to bear steel against your liege lord.
Rob said.
But doubtless you only meant to cut my meat.
Bran's bowels went to water as the Great John struggled to rise, sucking at the red stumps of fingers. But then, astonishingly, the huge man laughed.
Your meat
He roared.
is bloody tough.
And somehow, after that, the Grey John became Rob's right hand, his staunchest champion, loudly telling all and sundry that the boy lord was a Stark after all, and they damn well better bend their knees if they didn't fancy having them chewed off.
This, and we definitely talked about this when we recorded this the first time. This scene in the show is top notch,
Dope as fuck.
Yeah,
It's spot on. It's
yeah,
perfect.
it's perfect. And like that, this theme I think not only carries out through this chapter, but like will carry out like in the next chapter or two. Like we'll see Rob, like Great John is like his like kind of right hand for like a decent amount of time.
He definitely earned his respect.
Yeah.
There.
And, well, even I mean, like even Rob chooses him. Like it's almost like a Rob chooses him.
Well, yeah, I
thing,
mean,
too,
I
which
think
is
Rob
weird.
sees the value in him because he's massive and terrifying.
And now he's so 100% on Rob's
Yeah,
side.
he's loyal
like
as shit,
he's like
yeah.
really loyal. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He earned his.
But like I just mean like later when they ride out, like they actually ride out, like at the end, like Great John is right there.
yeah,
right
him and
behind
Theon.
Him and Theon. Yep. So this like does a lot for Great John, and it's just badass for Rob. It's also sweet that like Rob is like itching Greywind right behind the ear right before it happens. Right? Like I don't know. It's like he seems so
says
calm.
like a word or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
he
I
like
mean,
says
let's
a
be
word.
serious. If you had a full grown ass wolf that you know you could just send on somebody, like actually imagine if you had Luke trained and you could just sick
Luke
somebody.
is trained.
He's not
I
trained.
saw him
Imagine,
not
but
eat
that's
their
what I'm saying.
homework.
Luke is trained, but if you were across the room from me with a fucking sword and I whispered something to Luke, he would hightail it the other fucking way, dude.
Yeah, your dog sucks. Like Greywind is like, of course. Like, all right, maybe if Great John kills Greywind, then maybe you're like, oh shit, like this guy means business. But until Greywind gets bested by anybody, he's just gonna be like, huh, I got a fucking wolf. What are you gonna do?
That's true. That's true.
Oh, I got a wolf. What?
So
what do you
Rob
want
looks
again?
badass in this moment, but Rob visits Bran a little later on.
He's
And
a
at
little
that
bit
night,
shaken and pale.
and he is fucking scared shitless.
He's like, I thought I was dead, and I wish Dad was here.
Yeah, that's something that they all can agree on. But he does say something else, that he doesn't think Great John is the scariest of everybody.
Lord Bruce.
Roose Bolton, right?
He
Bruce
says
Bolton.
Great John is not the scariest, just the loudest.
Bruce never says a word. He just stares at him, and like
just
all he can
creepy.
think is he's gonna fucking flay me, put me in a dungeon.
yeah. He asked Bran about the room that they have at the Dreadport where they just like keep their like skins, and Bran's like, that's just an old man story, right? And Rob's like, I don't fucking know.
I don't know, man.
I don't fucking know, dude. Maybe
I
I
need
hope
to
so.
find out.
He's creepy enough.
So this is where they say that like Bran starts saying about like how they actually don't have any clue what's going on, but then they get Sansa's letter, and he says that he remembers the look on Rob's face when he was reading Sansa's words, and Rob says,
She says father conspired at treason with the king's brothers. King Robert is dead, and mother and I are summoned to the Red Keep to swear fealty to Joffrey. She says we must be loyal, and when she marries Joffrey, she will plead with him to spare our Lord Father's life. And she says nothing of Arya. Nothing. Not so much as a word. Damn her! What's wrong with the girl?
so this goes over about as well as I think Kyle predicted. We all probably predicted the first time we read this or saw this.
Yeah, I thought he wasn't gonna believe it, or he wasn't gonna be right on her side for sure.
Wasn't gonna be super happy about it, but like at least they
I
now
think
finally know what's
he's
going
putting
on.
more blame on Sansa though than she probably deserves.
She's being played, and I think he knows that.
We did say that Arya didn't think about her in her chapter. Like the they both had a chapter right after the.
But
fucking,
she eventually thought of her.
Yeah, but she thought of like
No,
an old
yeah,
memory of
2
her.
days later. It's like 3 days later.
Sansa does mention Arya.
Arya was running for her life, trying to escape the fucking castle after watching everybody
While
getting
Sansa
murdered.
was sitting
Sansa was
around
writing-
with fucking...
Sansa was writing a letter to her family.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
No, well,
That's
Sansa
what
was
I'm
also
saying as well.
sitting around for 2 days with what's-her-face.
Jean Poole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm saying it's a way different scenario. Like Arya had one person to think of that whole time, and that was
That's
herself.
true. And Arya's chapter is like over the course of like maybe 2 hours, and Sansa's was like 3 days.
Yeah.
So Sansa definitely should have done it. Should have thought of her. But whatever.
Uh-huh.
Moving on. That's
But
why
I'm
Rob's
thinking
pissed.
more of like Rob. I feel like Rob is also pissed because like Sansa's the one delivering the words, where she's not really. She's just a vessel for the words. They're not her words, right? And like I think it's a little bit naive of Rob to think that Sansa like just like I feel like he thinks she wrote the letter. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I would say Rob, I think he's mad that she's getting so involved with them. I mean, I don't know that he's even thinking that they're exactly her words or whatever. But, I mean,
yeah.
he
And
knows.
one of the crazy things is she still says, "Once I marry Joffrey."
Well, this
Like-
makes it seem. Well, this quote here, where Rob gets so upset, makes it seem like he doesn't realize that it's not Sansa saying this.
Yeah,
right? Which is different from
because
this.
he says, "Why doesn't she say anything about Arya?"
Yeah, exactly.
He's putting blame on her.
When if you think of this from Cersei, why wouldn't she say anything about Arya? It kind of makes sense. Like, oh, maybe she doesn't have her, or doesn't know what's up with Arya, or maybe she's dead and just doesn't want to say that, right? So if you think it's coming from Cersei, if it's actually coming from Cersei, then you might expect something different. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure what Rob's thinking here.
So, yeah, then it goes into, like, she lost her wolf, and, like, that's why she's kind of, she's losing her Stark, essentially.
Yep.
And
We all also, I don't know if we mentioned it earlier, but Rickon's wolf got chained up. So like
Yeah,
we said,
he
Rickon
did.
was acting
He
out. That
bit
was like his
everybody.
punishment.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
that was-
just
that- I don't
and
know
it's
if we
just
mentioned the
howling,
punishment.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
That made
Just
him
like
even
all night
madder.
crying.
Yeah, that makes him
No.
not happy.
Does it say he's howling?
Yeah.
I just know Rickon's crying all the time now because of it.
Oh, I don't think the wolf
I
is sad. I don't think they said anything about that.
And is this where he talks? It might be a little bit later on, where he talks about how they brought back ladies'
Who
bones.
expected a 4-year-old to train a wolf?
Ned Stark.
Ned.
You will
Like,
train them
of course
yourself.
train it.
Of course,
There
this
it
guy's
is.
He
crazy.
kind of trained it. He said attack them. He was swinging his sword, so
That's
the
true.
dog
It
did
was,
what he
it
was
was
doing.
defended. I mean, it did the same thing Great John did, just at the wrong.
But
Like
I
Rickon
think-
was telling it to do the wrong
it
person.
sounds like that dog is just insane, or that wolf is just
It
insane
kinda
all the
does.
time. Like, I'm sure it's just fucking, like, going
Well,
wild.
wasn't it the first one to like go up to Tyrion too in the hall? Maybe
Yeah,
not.
I think so.
don't
I think
remember.
it went
I think
after him a
was.
little bit.
It was
yeah.
him and Grey Wind were both.
Yeah,
going
but I don't
after
think
him,
Shaggy Dog is nearly the wolf that Grey Wind is. I'm just gonna put that
Shaggy
out
Dog's
there.
more like Luke.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has a 4-year-old training him.
I don't think he's like Luke. I think he's just like a fucking wild dire wolf, essentially. At that
He's just like
point.
a wild. Okay,
yeah, pretty much.
That's
Like,
living in a
I
castle.
mean, he might like Rickon, but I think beyond that, like, I don't think he has any boundaries.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
once
so
Brand's
Brandon-
like thinking of all these, like how he
everybody
shows
that
never wolf
leaves
and everyone's south,
dies.
and it never ends well. He starts. Now we're back to the Godswood. He's like praying, like in like real time. He's praying for like.
Well, hang on. He does talk about Jory and Fat Tom coming back, but little does he know they're already all slain, right?
Does he say that they're
Yeah.
gonna come back?
Yeah, he says
I think
none
he's
had
just
ever
talking about how
returned, and now Hullen and Fat Tom and the rest, and Mother and Sir
Oh, you're
Roderick
right.
had gone, and they hadn't come back either. And now Rob's gonna go. Like, he doesn't know that half of these people aren't gonna come back.
Bran just says he then compares them to his grandfather and uncle who
Yeah.
also went south. And I guess I just lumped the Fat Tom and Jory
And
them
Lady.
into that. I thought Bran knew that.
No, I'm sure he has no idea.
Yeah, I would think he would know that.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So this is where he starts, but he snaps back, and this is where he starts praying because of all of that stuff that he thinks about.
Yeah.
He starts praying and hoping that,
God's watch
like everyone
over him.
that goes south is gonna be okay. Well, Rob, like in all like the armies, like he names off like a ton of people. Rob, fucking who, Hallis Mullen, all the great lords, the people he doesn't even fucking know. He's praying for.
He just really wants the gods to watch over him, right?
Yeah, make sure they're safe and bring them back.
Bring Ned home. Yeah.
Oh,
And the
Neddy.
leaves like shuffle in the wind. And Summer shows his teeth, and then somebody says, "You hear them, boy?"
Yeah, them boy.
And it's Osha across the pool.
I'm sure we might have mentioned this like briefly the last recording, but the fact that she snuck up on a direwolf.
Well, Summer does bear teeth before she talks.
I don't think.
Summer
I
bears
don't
teeth,
think we brought that up.
but she did sneak up.
And her ankles are chained.
Exactly. So Bran says this. He says like she was surprisingly quiet, especially considering she was in chains.
I mean, it was like he
And
bared his
heavy
teeth,
fucking
and
chains,
then she
like-
talked like immediately after. Like I guess what I'm saying is that she was probably right there by the time that the wolf noticed she was there.
yeah, I'm agreeing with you. She's sneaky.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's crazy.
Or
Do
Summer's
you think,
slacking. Or
like,
Summer maybe
in the
feels
show-
unease here.
I don't think she's as
In the show,
captive.
she's across the water. Do you think she's like right next to him?
I can sneak up on Luke pretty easy.
Luke's an idiot.
You
He's not
guys,
a
like the
direwolf.
readers probably think I have
Why are you
like a
setting
fucking.
him up to talk?
The
shit
readers
on,
probably think I
Luke
have like a
that, bro?
fucking Kyle dog, like a fucking 13-pound rat-looking piece of shit.
You think Nugget weighs
don't.
13 pounds?
He's probably like 2 pounds,
6 pounds.
6 pounds. Yeah, like
Nugget's 6
My
pounds?
fucking dog is a lion killer. Okay, it would fucking destroy anybody. It's basically better than a direwolf.
If it ever gets off the couch.
He's late. He's a little lazy sometimes.
But so
He's a little lazy.
He naps a
sometimes.
lot.
I guess what I'm getting at here is that what I was trying to say was I think OSHA is not as much of a captive as everybody thinks she is. Like, I think she could leave if she wanted to.
There's 12,000 men around, and she's walking with ankle chains on.
But she can obviously sneak wherever she wants. Like, the drawbridge was open, the gates were open.
The
like, she could have
drawbridge
just
is
left.
open. Yeah, so I never thought about this before, but Kyle's right. Like Bran says later that the drawbridge and both portcullises have been up, drawbridge down for 2 days, even overnight. Right? She can
but
definitely
she's getting
sneak out
banged by the
overnight.
kitchen
There's so
guy.
many people there that she could have just slipped in. Nobody's going to recognize half these people
And
anyway.
there's metal clinking, there's swords clanking, and everyone's wearing fucking armor. No one's going to notice her rattling if she's wearing a dress.
That's what I'm saying. She could have just pieced out. I think she probably feels a little safe here.
For sure. I mean, she's talking to Bran, like, we're
Yeah.
about to get there. She's talking to Bran about, like, we got fucking giants, we got fucking ice fucking monsters over there. I don't want, you're going the fucking wrong way. Like, I'm going to chill here behind this fucking wall.
Yeah. I guess
So
that's the point.
I mean, I never thought about that before, but if I was OSHA, fuck yeah, I'm staying here. Like, her
Yeah, like, yo, like I said, you're getting free food and shit. All you gotta do
The
is
guy
get
diddles
back a
me
little
with
and
his
clean some
flower
dishes.
which,
Get
like,
this
makes you think, like, if when
look on
Rob and them
Hodor's
found,
penis.
if, like, when Rob found them, if he was like, yo, I'll take you all in, you all just be my servants, would they have done it?
Not all of them.
I don't think that the two
No.
Nice Watch.
Well, there was Night's Watchmen. Like, they would have got killed.
I don't think they would have realized how good they would have had it as like a servant in Winterfell.
I mean, do they really have it that good? She's like getting raped and has
She likes
chains
it.
on her the whole time.
She likes it.
That's because he's gentle, but he didn't need to be gentle.
And,
Like,
her,
he could just
and
like.
she smells like flour. She likes it.
And like I
Alright.
said, she gets the look on Hodor's penis occasionally. So
Yeah, it's not rape. Definitely not rape. She's consenting.
it's a mutual.
It sounds like
mutually
Steve doesn't
beneficial
treat you
deal.
right.
Female viewers, let us know if you consider this consenting. But I don't know. I think that they, in hindsight, if any of those wildling guys or whatever could have seen like how they would have had it, like OSHA does.
I think she's
Especially,
kind
I don't
of
even
coerced into that sexual relationship. I feel like I have to say that. But anyway, go ahead.
for sure. But I also doubt that she'd be in chains if they would have said yes. She'd just be walking around doing her thing. She'd be less prisoner if she would have just said, "Yeah, sure, I'll be your servant."
Well, I mean, she's still their prisoner.
I think they probably would have kept her in chains. If the other guy's attacked, I think that's what happens. So anyway, she's like you can hear him, and he's like, "What are you talking about hearing him?" And she's like, "Well, if you just listen, you
They're
can
my
hear him."
gods too, boy.
Brand's like, "That's just the wind."
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, who do you think makes a win? Like, where does that
That's
come
why
from?"
Bran's a southern boy.
Yeah,
He's not of the north.
That's checkmate right there. OSHA just checkmated him with who do you think sends the wind. That's a checkmate quote.
So OSHA is just like, oh, the gods are upset that they're not actually going to be able to look over Rob because all of the heart trees are cut down.
Being cut down for thousands of years.
She says even if they wanted to, they wouldn't be able to down south. But she says she starts to get into like the main point is that there's
didn't
like
she say like the big thing was that they were upset like at the
I don't think she
like
ever says
they sounded upset or they sounded sad.
Yep. Yeah, she
They
says
sounded
they're
sad, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's more of like
Sad.
I don't know.
They're sad. Your Lord Brother will get no help from them. Not where he's going. The old gods
Yeah.
have no power in the south. The weirwoods were all cut down.
I guess that is like kind of the weirds are cut down and he's going the wrong way type of thing.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking about giants and she's like Bran's like Lewin says giants are all gone.
Well, this is after
I was
Hodor's
gonna say, you know why they're talking
big
about
dick
giants,
comes
right?
swinging.
Oh, yeah. Hodor comes back.
Big old giant's peen.
Hodor hops out, big dick swinging. She's like, man, he's half giant.
She's like,
Does a little
he's half
helicopter
giant
action.
or I'm the queen, I think is what she says. And Bran's like, nah, giants are gone. Lewin says so. And she's like, fuck that. My brother killed a giant. He was fucking 10 feet tall. And then she explains where half giants come from, what I guess is what she suspects Hodor is.
It's when a a female giant bangs a human male because the other way around go bad for
Does
the
not
woman.
go good for the lady. But she's like, Bran, you don't know what I mean. He's like, yes, I do. I've seen dogs and horses.
I've seen dogs do it.
I've seen giant dogs rip female dogs apart. But even though he knows what it is, he is uncomfortable talking about it. So he quickly changes the subject, right?
He's like, no, yeah. At first, he's like, Hodor, go cover that thing.
Yeah, he's like, get out of here.
He's like, please, go
Ocean's
get your
getting-
fucking clothes.
It's gotta look
How do I
fucking
close now?
I'm
gross.
tired of looking at your plate, man.
And he
I'm jealous,
quickly
dude,
changes
okay?
the subject back to giants.
Yeah.
Right? And just shit, them being above the wall.
Giant. She's like, yeah, man. There's definitely giants, and there's shit worse than giants out there. Like, it's not just that. It's like dudes go out, never come back. Sometimes they do, and their eyes are blue and their hands are black.
So she also said she's already told this all to Lewin and Greyjoy, right?
Not Rob.
I tried to
wasn't
tell your
there.
brother when he asked his questions, him, or I guess she
Well, that's
she
the
tried
end
to
of
tell
this.
him.
That was
but they
where I was
probably-
Yeah,
getting
and
there.
she says like, "Yeah, you guys should be going north, not south." Like, what the fuck, bro?
This is where she talks. The cold winds are rising and men go out from their fires and never come back. Or if they do, they're not men no more, but only whites with blue eyes and cold black hands. So she kind of explains why she ran out here, and it's because she's just scared shitless. And we kind of hit on that, but like the other two fucks, Stiv and Hallie, I don't remember which that ones they were when they got eaten by Grey
One of
Wind
them I
in
think
summer.
got shot, one of them got eaten, but yeah, fuck them, they're dead now. It doesn't matter.
And we get a little bit mention of Mance Rayder, who is the king beyond the wall.
She said Mance Rayder's
and-
trying to fucking fight these guys.
Right. Just in straight up combat.
and
he's-
she's
and
like,
she's
what a
like-
fucking moron.
She's like, that black crow is just a little boy of summer or whatever. Like, just
She
like, he
also
can't do
says
shit.
she also says something that I think Kyle thought was a spoiler, but I think it's something that you should pick up. Maybe it's not super obvious, but it's something they're trying to convey in this chapter, that he like started as a Night's Watchman.
Yeah, he was a black crow who flew down from the Shadow Tower, and you guys explained that a black crow was a deserter, or no, that it was
The
actually
wildlings-
a watchman. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wildlings
yeah,
call
they call
crows.
the
yeah, because they're all in
Yep.
black
Yeah.
up
They're all
on
in
the wall
black.
and shit.
In the Shadow Tower, we've heard only like 3 or 4 times, but that's like the furthest left tower.
Yeah, and I forgot all about that. That's why I thought
Yep.
it was a spoiler, because it was kind of just a line.
I mean, it's like
passing.
borderline. I bet you like 90% of people probably don't realize that's what that means when he.
But he was also like Jeff
But her
said, a
point
summer
is-
child. And
Yeah, her
like,
point is he wasn't born north of the wall. I fucking was. He
Yeah.
doesn't understand what he's going up against, basically.
shit's fucked up there.
Yeah.
She's like, I tried to tell your brother. Again, she says it because you were right, Nelson. She did say it before. And she's like, I called him in the yard, and he just fucking looked at me, and fucking Great John just pushed me out of the way.
Yeah.
So fuck them all. Like, I'm just going to be here. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good.
So Bran's like, tell me, what should I tell him? And she's like, you're going the fucking wrong way. Go north. Like, that's where the enemy's at. And Bran's like, okay, I'll tell him.
It's kind of crazy to think if this enemy is so bad, how there's even wildlings surviving up north.
I don't think it was just,
You know what I mean?
I think it's coming for them, too. Like, I mean, I don't think they were, like, all
Just a
together
recent
all
thing.
the time. I think the winter is coming with them. You know
But
what I'm
I mean,
saying?
I see what both are saying, but to Jeff's point, we've had 2 chapters that take place north of the wall. The first one, we see the bad guys. And the last one, where John takes his vows, and we see a hand, which leads to, I guess, 3 chapters. The following one starting north of the wall, where, again, we bring back these guys. So
But I don't
all
think
of
they were
our
as
encounters...
present. I guess
No,
when-
I agree with you. They're clearly not, or else like what Jeff's saying could
Everyone
be a thing.
would be dead.
Wildlings wouldn't exist. But it doesn't make sense, I guess, based on our context. But we're viewing this from like a story's lens. So, but yeah, that's a
So
good
the
point.
last part of the chapter is Rob is getting ready for his battle plans, and Bran has to host the last family
The
at
Karstarks,
dinner.
the guys who got here this morning.
Yeah, so I don't know if we didn't say it earlier, but the Great Hall is too small for everyone to be there, so Rob was treating each family to his meat and mead. So the Karstarks just got there, so it's their turn, and it's just the Karstark sons, I believe, that are present.
Because Rob isn't here because he's meeting with all like the lords in his like war chamber or whatever. They're eating there while they're talking about their war plans. So Bran is left to be the one in charge, and Lewin is at his right hand, where Bran normally would be for Rob.
And this is where I said that there's the 2 Karstarks
Yep.
talking shit about him, saying,
Yep.
"Oh, I'd rather be dead than crippled. Oh, I would have killed myself. He must be a craven or
Yeah,
something."
he must be a
Whatever. I forget
coward
what he
as well
says.
as crippled or something like
Coward.
that. Yeah.
Likely he was so broken inside as well as out. Too craven to take his own life. And that's when he gets this Bran the Broken thing.
Yep.
Bran the Broken.
So he like tells Lewin this, and kind of what I said earlier. He tells Lewin, "I don't want to be broken," and he's like, we are the knights of the mind." And Bran's like, "Go fuck yourself. Can you teach me how to fucking cast magic spells?"
Yeah, let me at least learn magic too.
That bird that I talked to told me I could fly, dude.
Dude,
Like, I don't
literally
need-
one of my favorite. This must be a show. I don't think this was in the book. The show only quote that Sam tells John when John gets upset about not becoming a ranger. Or does
you're
that
gonna
is-
be.
Or is
You're
that
gonna
just
be
yet
this-
to happen? When John's like, "I've always wanted to be a ranger."
Doesn't Sam just say like, look, they're
Sam
training
says,
you to be a leader?
Sam says, "I always wanted to be a wizard." In the
I
show.
That wasn't in the book.
yeah,
That's
that
for
That's
sure.
like
in the
one of
book.
my favorite lines, dude. Because like that's just like that is such Sam. Like obviously you can never be a wizard, and like it doesn't like John could be a Rangers, but I don't know. I just think that's just such a great line for both of them, and that's kind of like what Bran's saying. You know, he's like, "Fuck it, if I can't be a knight, I don't want to be a maester. I want to be a fucking wizard. I want to know
Yeah,
magic."
give me magic, dude. I want to fly.
Yeah, Mason basically just like crushes all his dreams. Is like, "Nah, I can't teach you that." If I was Lewin, I'd be like, "I can teach you the magic of astrology,
Science.
or like the magic of chemistry, or like just like try and twist it." But he's like, "Nah, magic's fake, bro." He's like, "I can teach you like horseback riding or like shit like that, or how to build a ship, but I can't teach you that."
And then he's like, well, the fucking children of the forest could. Like, what about them, huh? What about them? And Lewin's like, yeah, that lady is like crazier than old Nan. So
She's
like,
like, she could tell crazier stories than old Nan.
yeah, don't listen to her. And he's like, but if you want, I'll talk to her again. If you're really that worried about going south instead of north, I'll talk to her. But
But don't mention this to Rob. He's too busy.
yeah, he's got some important stuff to deal with,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
going
please,
south.
please don't say this to Rob.
So Kyle, I guess I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like, I don't think that like any of us would think that Bran could have that much of an impact on Rob at this point, especially now that he's kind of got 12,000 men that are like
Yeah, they're not
going
going.
south.
They're not going north. There's no.
But do you
there's-
think that would be a good move right now?
to go north?
Listening to Bran and Osha, yeah,
No.
no, because I mean, to even if Osha is correct, which we think she is, because we have some knowledge that these guys don't have, there is still a major problem down south that I don't think Osha and maybe even Bran is really comprehending like the severity of.
Yeah. And like Lewin even says it. He's like, I don't care what's happening north of the wall. They don't have your dad. Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like
The South does.
Yeah, that's where like
so like
sure,
you have
yeah,
no
like,
choice. Yeah, and like I mean they
It's
called
like kinda like you can't-
12,000 people to go south, and then they're gonna be like, yeah, you know, we're gonna go north, and
for no reason except for this wildling woman told us. Yeah.
All those people would then really be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, we're leaving you.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Grey
yeah,
One's gonna have
exactly.
to bite 2 fingers off every fucking person in the army. Right.
yeah, there's no change in this. This was already underway a while ago.
Bran kind of just like
Set
wants
in
to have his
motion.
cake and eat it too here, right? He wants he says it like 4 or 5 times in this chapter. Like, I just want Ned to come home. He prays the gods for it. He says, like, when everyone goes down, I want everyone to come back. But then at the end of the chapter, he just like has this total 180. He was like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck all those people. Let's go north. Like, I'm with Ocean now. It's obviously just like trying to inform the reader of like what's going on in both areas at the same time, because like not much really happens in this except for telling us what's going on. But I think they do it in a pretty entertaining way with the whole Bran thing by using Bran to do it. And then the very last like maybe half page of this chapter is Rob, like 2 days later, Rob's leaving. Bran hasn't mentioned this to Rob, and they're riding out. Rob's dripped up, looking good, got some
The
fucking
Lord of Winterfell.
bleached,
Looking like a lord.
bleached leathers on his horse with Shaggy Dog running next to him.
Not
Right.
Shaggy Dog, you fuck.
Dude,
Grey
Grey
Wind.
Wind. Figure
Shaggy
it
Dog's
out.
locked up.
Figure it out.
I was saying that because where's Rickon?
Crying.
He's
rude.
not here.
crying.
He didn't want to say
He
bye.
didn't want to say
No.
bye. So he's
Fuck you,
chilling.
dude. You're not coming back.
No farewell.
No farewell. Me, Rickon. Few words do trick.
Oh, fuck.
So yeah, they ride out, and Bran gets kind of sad because he's like, "Fuck, Rob." Everyone's hyped up about Rob, and I'm just fucking Bran the broken.
Bran the Broken.
Hodor.
And Rickon the Crybaby.
And Hodor says,
And Hodor the
and he says
Mandingo.
Hodor the
And Bran
Mandingo.
goes Hodor.
Hodor?
Kyle, any final things to talk about? Spoilers?
Just cut him out of the
even
last
ask you.
one, because I
don't-
probably had some really good predictions that I don't remember, and I don't want to contradict
In
my
Nelson's predictions,
I'll
it
go
says no predictions.
I'll go look. But if you have anything else, Dude, you said you had good ones. Look at what my fucking Jeff. Do you see what my notes say for Kyle predictions?
Yeah, like nothing good or
Lily
not
says
much at
not
all.
much at all. Not much.
Come on, Kyle. What's your prediction?
I think they're gonna have some heavy casualties down at a river run. Is that where they're headed? Did I fuck that up?
Well, they're meeting up with the Northmen that are south, but yeah, the fighting's
We're not really sure their end destination, but
the
they're headed
fighting's
south.
in the Riverland territory right now. I
Okay.
guess
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Reach is that the Reach?
Well, actually, no. The Reach is south of
The Riverland.
the
It's
Re-
just the
yeah,
Riverlands,
it's
right?
Riverlands.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, I've read ahead. The next chapter is Danny. Then after that, we're gonna get a lot about like where troops are positioned and everything for what's about to happen here. So we'll get more into that now, but it's not really a spoiler. But I'll save it for those.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what else
Good
to
job.
say. Like, it's an army that's moving south. Like, are they successful? I don't know. They didn't even fight yet, so I
What's
don't even know
Bran
what
do?
they're up against.
Yeah, what's next for Bran next? Like, it seems like after Rob's gone, like, what is Bran? Like, is Bran just not going to have any more chapters for a
I think
while?
he's gonna no. I think he's gonna find himself in some of this. I think he's gonna become a leader to some degree.
So, like, one of the things though, like that he mentions when like at the very end of the chapter is like he looks around and like everyone's gone, right? Like he says like the
Yeah, it's
only people
just
that are left are
old
like
people,
old people and women.
kids.
So like I was kind of thinking like it's kind of like I don't know, ironic or fitting or whatever that like we have this like crippled 7-year-old who's the leader of all these misfits, like kind of like a king misfit in charge of all the misfits.
King Misfit. Lord Misfit.
Yeah. It's him being lord of the handicapped and like the unwanted and whatnot. But I think he's gonna find his place. I think it's gonna help him. I think he's not gonna have much to deal with like all the fighters and instigators gone. So I think
how
he's gonna.
about Rickon?
Rickon is not gonna get better. I mean, who's taking care of this fucking kid? I mean, I
Bran
guess they're-
now.
Mhm.
Bran,
well,
Bran
no, I
makes
guess
the
there's-
rules now.
They have like servants and stuff that are probably all over him.
Yeah, but Bran makes the fucking rules now.
Yeah,
Bran releases him.
yeah.
Release the beast.
No, but
I
Rickon was
don't
always
remember
free.
what happens in terms of that, but I can see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't know
With Shaggy
what
Dog
happens,
getting
so.
no Shaggy, like with Bran, I can see Bran just being like, "Nah, fuck it, I love Summer. Rickon should have Shaggy Dog. Let him out." And then he just
that's
like,
not gonna happen. But
Lewin would not allow that.
Yeah,
Or
definitely not.
Farland, the kennel master.
yeah, I think he's gonna come into his own. I think he's gonna find himself. He's gonna start to accept himself more as well.
Bran the Broken becomes.
I think
Bran
there's less
the
people gonna be
Broken.
making fun of him.
Bran the Broken.
Do you think he learns how to walk?
Yeah, I bet he learns how to fly.
Ooh.
And with that, we'll
All right.
leave you
And
guys.
with
We'll
that,
see you
we'll
guys.
go on to the spoiler section.
And now on to the spoiler section of Bran 6.
Anyone who's leaving us here, thanks for listening. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment. We'll talk about it in the next one. Review on iTunes if you watched today. We're getting more iTunes views lately. We're sorry about the delay. Again, we had a mess up with the audio and it took a little bit. We'll get the next one out. Lickety split. See anybody in the spoiler section. Bye, Kyle.
Bye bye.
See you, Kyle.
Bye,
See you, Nugget.
Get the hell out of here.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Kyle. It was great hanging out, bud. See you on the next episode for Daenerys 5.
My girl, Danny.
And now on to the spoiler section of Bran 6. Guys, what are your hot takes for this episode?
I got them hot ass takes.
You got them
All
hot
right, Jeff,
cakes?
you go.
I got hot cakes that Nelson hasn't even thought of. So the first note I had was the importance of being knighted, because I know we talked about it with Sir Dunk.
Yeah, so Sir Dunk's not a real knight, right? And maybe I hope we find out that actually Aegon knights him at some point, but that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of like it doesn't matter if you're a knight or not.
So
right?
what's the big deal about him not being knighted? Like he like says shit, right? Or like he's just in joust and shit like that? Or
so who's the? What do you mean?
like
How do we know he's not a knight?
if he wasn't a knight,
yeah,
does anything actually matter? Like he just can't.
he doesn't get egg as a squire because you don't get squires for
Okay,
a knight.
right,
He's
right,
not allowed
right.
to enter the first joust. He doesn't.
So
get
pretty much
served
his
for
whole
Lord
story
Eustace.
is based off of the lie of him being knighted. Which,
Yeah.
if he was in the north, wouldn't actually fucking matter.
Yeah, you should have just
Yeah, I
showed
don't
him
know
the
how
north.
his knights work in the north. Oh, he goes to the north in the next book. So I don't know how that really works, but
So do you think there's any importance behind actually being knighted, or
it's weird, right? Because like if the whole point that George is trying to make with the whole like it doesn't matter if you're a knight, because you have people like Sir Gregor who are knights or who are huge dicks. Then you have people who are like Dunk who are not knights and who are like basically what a true knight is supposed to be. Then like the title doesn't mean anything, right? But then you have shit like what happens in the show where Brienne gets knighted by Jaime, and it defeats the whole purpose. It's like, if you're trying to point out that like you don't need to be a knight to be good, what's the point of making somebody who is good the whole time a knight at the end, just to put her in the club with all the other douchebags? You know what I mean? So like, it could go both ways. A lot of people are like, oh, I hope that eventually Dunk confesses to Egg that he's not a knight and Egg knights him. And yeah, that would be fucking sweet for the same reason it was sweet when Jaime knighted Brienne, but it kind of also defeats the purpose of like the point of it. Unless the point of it is just like, oh, they're lying, or that they're like in Brienne's case, she's proving that she doesn't have to be a knight to do this much good stuff, and then gets knighted anyway. And then in Dunk's case,
we don't know if does she get knighted in the book?
We don't know, not in the book.
Okay, yeah. So I was just like something I was curious about, because I know we talked about Dunk not actually being a knight, and now like this, like, oh well, it's really just like kind of like an informal title.
Well, and that's funny because the thing I parallel Dunk to Brienne, right? Because people say Brienne is Dunk's
like granddaughter or something.
Granddaughter, yeah, ancestor. Right, because Bran, when she goes and gets the shield, she gets the shield painted like Dunk's shield.
Right.
Because she saw that shield in the basement of Tarth, because eventually at one point Dunk went to Tarth and left the shield there. We don't know when. Presumably we'll get a Dunk and Egg book about that at some point, if that ever gets, if we ever get that far.
Don't get some preggers, dude.
But theoretically, Dunk goes to Tarth and leaves his shield there, and then Brienne sees it when she's young, and that's why she has her new shield painted that way, because she saw the artwork of Dunk's shield.
Knights can't have families, right? They're pretty much saying.
No, Knights can. Just Kingsguard can't. Kingsguard Knights can't.
They're married to protecting the king. All right, so my next one then, which I'm sure we've all got it down to talk about, is just Bran getting to the weirwood tree, the heart tree, and like he mentions him thinking more about him. He's not actually thinking about him. He's like getting mind fucked by Bloodraven.
Yeah. Well, he feels like they're not watching him, but they're watching over him, is basically the distinction he makes. And it's weird that like he makes that distinction as soon as he starts getting these dreams from the three-eyed crow, which is basically the same as the fucking heart tree, right?
Yeah.
That's our assumption.
They're pretty much interchangeable.
And the thing that you were saying about like if they control the wind, then they control how far does that go? They don't control the wind, I don't think. I think they control the weirwoods. Right, so it sounds like wind is blowing
like
through the
rustling
leaves.
the leaves.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah,
I'm sad.
I don't know if I believe that they control any of it.
Not like the fucking whomping willow from fucking Harry Potter, but just like enough to make the fucking breeze noise.
Yeah, but so how can Osha tell they're sad? And like what she says makes sense. Is she just talking?
Because like
out
later,
her
I
ass?
think Theon like hears the tree talk to him. I don't know. Yeah, I think she's just talking out her ass. I think she's trying to.
I think she's definitely talking out of her ass. Like I don't truly believe.
She's just trying to convince Rob to go north, right? And she's saying, "Oh, if you go south, you won't be protected by the gods. So you should go north instead." That's her thing. Yeah.
Right? No, I agree.
That's a good point.
I don't actually think Bloodraven is, wiggling the tree at all so that the leaves rustling sounds sad, or I don't. I just think that there's actually wind in the north. Like that's kind of like was part of my point. Which kind of takes it to my next point, which was like, oh, the tree is telling you that the old gods are sad that Rob's going south. Like, does Bloodraven actually give a fuck that Rob's going south?
Well, Osha doesn't like speak for Bloodraven, right?
Right.
She's using this to manipulate Bran. She wants. I don't think she really cares that much either way. But if she got her way, she would have Rob defending the people that she knows are gonna fuck their shit up, the White Walkers. Like she knows.
Does
that
she
is a
really
fucking
care
threat.
about that though? Like, I guess
if she's seen it,
I
knows.
think she's scared of it. Like she wants that defeated.
Anybody else who's seen that is like, fuck, dude. Because dude, it's like what we're talking about. Like, it's why it doesn't really make sense in the show. If when you kill somebody, that's not just a dead person on their team. That's one for your team, right? Like what's they call that in sports, right? Like it's like some sports you get a point when you do something. Some sports like you take a point from the other team. It's like a 2 for 1.
2 for 1, yeah.
I mean, it's like a turnover. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
You fuck them up, right? Like if you get it's a turnover every fucking time. 2 for 1, whatever you want to call it.
swing.
It's way
It's a
better.
It's like a 2-point swing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
2-point swing every fucking time.
Yeah,
It's the worst thing.
Unless
she
you
is
burn
so
them.
right. Yeah, but I mean,
Still
OSHA is so
1-point
right.
swing.
Not like Rob's Army's going to do anything against the White Walkers right now. Anyway,
Right.
They don't have
I
any
mean, I
fucking
think
Valyrian
she like.
steel
What
or-
did she kind of notice? Like, oh, well, all the wildlings don't really matter. Like, their numbers got to be pretty fucking big. No.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just send these 12,000 Northmen up there too to do nothing. Like,
Yeah, but they
they
also
still
do
have
say
the
that, like-
wall. Like, they have the wall.
Yeah, you're right. But like, I don't know. She also doesn't give a fuck about what's happening in the South. And if anything, she probably just wants them to stay
I think she
here.
was maybe actually trying to interpret the old gods at this point. So I just
I
wanted to
think
bring it
so.
up. Like, would Bloodraven have any benefit to keeping Robb in the North? And I'm going to say no, because then Bran would never really have the option to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's manipulated anything too much up to this point to get people to leave Winterfell. It seems like that's mostly been like Littlefinger's doing. Cat kind of did it on her own, or Joffrey caused it, or whoever caused it by sending the cat's paw.
Sure.
It doesn't seem like the old gods were or the Three-Eyed Raven, whatever you want to call it, it was behind anything having to do with the Winterfell being this empty so far. That being said, I think
No,
you're right.
what I'm
I
saying
think you're
is,
right
like-
that if Robb doesn't leave, it's less likely that Bran is able to leave. Bran is only able to leave because
Right.
He's
He-
a
and
And
Winterfell.
he obviously wants Bran to come and leave Winterfell.
yeah,
So there's no benefit to Robb staying or even going north, because then Bran's definitely not going north. Like, so OSHA really is talking out of her ass, because it just wouldn't make any sense in Bloodraven's point of view for Robb to 1 stay or 2 go north.
yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, I don't know if it's like a thing or like.
Well, if Bloodraven,
Like, can they see the future? Like, does Bloodraven just know that Bran's eventually gonna get captured? Like Theon's gonna have it, and he doesn't have to do anything to cause it? Because it doesn't seem like Three-Eyed Raven is actively like doing too much to cause Bran to come north right now. Right? Like, it seems like we are rapidly approaching a situation where Bran is way more able to come north than he was previously. Right? Even now, whereas where we started, he's way more able to come north. If he just wanted to, he probably could right now. Like, command everyone, just take me north of the wall. Right? But doesn't seem like Bloodraven has caused any of the change of circumstance. Is my point. So like I'm not I don't know if it's fair to say that he's doing that, or like maybe it's just a thing where like he can see the future and he knows certain things going to happen, and at that point he'll start fucking with shit to change it.
I hope that's not the truth, because like I hope it's
That-
more
that
like
doesn't make
Yoda
sense to
seeing
me
the
either.
future, like the future's always changing type of deal.
But that's not what he says, or at least not in the show. In the show he says the past is written, the ink is dry.
who says this?
So, which
So,
is
I
pretty much
mean,
what I just said about
That's what the three.
like
That's what.
Yoda. Like,
That's
hard to see the future is.
no. Yoda says like
like
it's
Yoda
always
says.
changing. Yoda says, yeah, you're right. But Yoda says it's always changing. Like it's never, you can never be sure. But the
Well, that's the same thing of saying the
But
ink's
the
not
main
dry yet.
flow
It can
of it?
still
no,
change.
he says the ink is dry.
In the past.
He
In
says
the
it
past,
is
you
dry.
said.
Oh, in the
Bloodraven
past, I
says
guess.
that.
Bloodraven says that.
In
Yeah,
the
I guess you're
past.
right. Yeah, he's talking about the past. You're right. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. I think it's weird, and I don't think too much about him doing anything at this point. It doesn't seem there's too much obvious, and I don't think he's work. I don't think OSHA.
I mean,
is
he's
an
already
agent of
done
him.
stuff because he's already in Bran's ear. Like, why start getting in Bran's ear if you're not trying
For
to
sure,
get
but
in
it
there?
doesn't seem like he's done anything to get Bran in the situation he's in now, in terms of being able to come north more.
All right, I guess it's not. I mean, it's not.
I
that
think
big
you're
a
right,
thing.
though, Nelson. He hasn't. It doesn't seem like he's manipulated anything so far.
Well, I think Jeff's right.
I mean,
that
can he
has
actually
manipulated
manipulate
things.
anything? Can he actually manipulate stuff other than
I think
animals?
Jeff's right that he has manipulated stuff. But, and again, maybe we're wrong. Maybe he's manipulating stuff down on Ned's end, right? Maybe he's sending Ned some weird dreams that cause Ned to do some weird things that cause that war to happen, which like maybe the Three-Eyed Raven's like, if I cause Ned to get in trouble, then Robb leaves Winterfell, right? So maybe he doesn't have to do anything with Bran. What can Bran do to make Robb leave Winterfell? Nothing. He has to do fuck with Ned to get Robb to leave Winterfell. maybe he fucked with something to cause John Aaron's
Right.
death. Like, it's hard to tell all that shit. You have to cause it somewhere else.
Right. So where I was really trying to get is like everything that Bloodraven actually wants, whether he manipulates or not, is Bran or Robb to go south. So like the old gods wouldn't actually be sad of him going south because that's what Bloodraven wants.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. First off, I just don't see that. I don't think OSHA has anything to do with that, and I don't think there's any influence through like the leaves or like the tree itself that like causes anything for that in this point. I think any evidence of that would have come from like a Ned chapter previously.
All right.
So why doesn't Bloodraven want the armies going north right now? Like, why not fucking bulk up?
He is.
I might argue that he is on the same side as the White Walkers.
Yeah, that's where I was getting at.
Wasn't what's it called? Like the first Bloodraven? The Night King?
The Night
I
King.
googled
There's
some
no
theories
Night-
about it.
So there's no Night King in the books yet.
Not that we
Night's
know
King.
of.
Oh, the Night's King.
The Night's King. Yeah. No.
It's the Night's King.
No, I'm talking about like the leader of the White Walk.
Yeah, there isn't one in the books.
We never hear
that we
about
know
it.
of.
Not that we know of. They've been mentioned like 4 fucking times.
Okay, fair.
So I just saw and I'm sure it was a theory that was more based off of the show. I didn't give it much time reading it, but it was like the Night King was actually like the first Blood Raven type, or the first Three-Eyed Raven, which talks to like Bran and the Three-Eyed Ravens connect, or the Bran and the Night King's connection.
Well, I remember towards the end of the show, there was a bunch of theories about like Bran going back in time and becoming the Night King, right?
yeah.
Like some shit like that, which is kind of along the lines of what you're saying here. I don't know. I don't think there's much evidence for like any of that stuff too deep in this chapter.
Yeah.
Like we don't see too much about the others. The giant stuff I think is mostly correct. I think it's interesting that Kyle doesn't believe there's giants are real. I'm surprised I didn't accidentally spoil that. I thought that he knew giants were real from just seeing stuff on the show.
Yeah, I mean, and if he thinks White Walkers are real, then giants should be real too. Same with the children in the forest.
But he seems to completely not think giants are real at this point.
That's what it sounded like, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like, he should be thinking that he knows dragons are going to come. He knows, like, the whites and the White Walkers. Like, why would you believe anything?
I think he was just saying, he might have been defending why people don't believe it. I don't know.
No, I think he doesn't believe it.
All right, well, he's in for a rude awakening.
Hodor is so big because there was a giant there.
He doesn't know.
He has a whole fucking, like, army of them.
Yeah, but Kyle doesn't know that. He doesn't think there's giants. He doesn't realize they're real. That's what he was saying.
No, that's right. No, I agree.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm saying he was using it to, like, I don't know,
Defend his opinion.
satisfy why Hodor is fucking big.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
Yeah.
Like, all right, my last one does deal with Hodor, and it's the last line that Kyle fucking like jerked off to at the end of the non-spoiler section, which was what actually his name means. And I mean, the cool thing is, like, he doesn't truly actually know what happens, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Like, he knows he's holding a door.
And I
we don't
bet
even
you
know if
it'll
there's
be,
actually.
well, I bet you it'll be better in the books. Because it doesn't really make sense in the show.
Do you think it'll be?
It kind of makes sense in the show.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so
It gets Bran away.
yeah, so think about this. Hodor holds a door. Mira is pulling Bran on a sled in the snow. We see Bran is in eyesight of the door when zombies are punching through the wood and attacking Hodor. At that point, it cuts away and goes somewhere else. How much longer does Hodor live in the show? Like, does he hold that door once they start reaching through and grabbing his face and
he
shit?
holds the door for hours and lets Mira drag Bran away.
Once they reach through and are getting at his eyes, he holds the door for maybe 2 more minutes. And Mira is either leaving Bran and maybe escaping, or they're both dead, right? Like, it doesn't make any
And
fucking
Cold
sense.
Hands
So they have
throws
to do
him
it.
on a fucking.
And the thing is, they're like, George doesn't do that. George doesn't be like, Bran and Mira were 20 feet away, and then there were zombies punching through the door and cut away, right? That's not how it goes. Like, they'll be obviously safe or obviously not safe.
So what do you think happens?
I think it'll be similar, but it'll be better.
Like, oh, Hodor's just waiting to hold the door for hours at end
No,
until
like
Bran and Mira get away and you don't see
like
it at all.
maybe that'd be fucking sick. Or like maybe like the Children of the Forest like light this big ass bomb or something like that. But like Hodor has to hold the door for like a minute so that the bomb can go off or something. I don't know, like something sick, something better than like what happened. I mean, not that the show was
Dude,
sick.
that scene was
sick.
fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
But when you watch it back,
was it very realistic that they get away?
When you watch it
No.
back, it's like
It was very realistic
sense.
that they get away. No.
It just sucks that they were like probably 100 miles north of the wall,
Because
or
like
however
the show,
far they
the
were.
show does this thing where they just like, oh, we can just cut away to make things more dramatic and then not have to like worry about it. They do it all the time in season 8. Like, how about like when the Night King like raises his hands in the Battle of Winterfell and Jon's like the only one outside the walls and literally like a million White Walkers stand up and they just
And
cut
he
away
lives.
and then they cut back and he's inside
He's
the
about to
walls. It's
fight
like-
the dragon.
They just do this thing where like they
No,
cut away.
he like cut down. He cut down like 50 of them, didn't he?
We don't know. They
Like,
just
on
cut
his
away.
way
Who the
back?
fuck knows? They just cut away. Now he's back inside. Like he obviously
Or
he did.
that like Jorah dies and Dany's just like holding Jorah like around the sea of them too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And
doesn't
then
that
Danny's
happen?
just like back inside the wall the next time. Like, yeah, like just cut away and everyone's safe. Like it's just they don't do that. Like that doesn't happen in the book, which makes it I think a little bit more like tense and like real. Okay, that was your last one. Glow, anything else?
I have two stupid ones. One is the Dogs. Obviously, we've talked about it.
A lot of dogs
yeah.
this
What's his
chapter.
I don't think it's a
Shaggy
stupid
Dog
one.
and Rickon obviously feed off each other, and then there's
Yep, wild.
Sansa.
I mean,
doesn't
I
have
think
her
it's
connection.
the bigger one is with Lady.
Yeah,
Like
That's what Glow's
you
saying.
guys brought it up last time. Like, is she less of a Stark now that Lady's gone? Or
Well, it's weird that Bran and Jon both say the same thing. I've never, in any read through I've done, and in any other read through, I have never waited a week to read these chapters. Right? But because we're going so like thoroughly through them, I picked out that both Bran and Jon had the same reaction. Literally, as soon as they like get word from Sansa, they're like, "Oh, she doesn't have her dog."
yeah, that's true.
Right? I never realized that before, but they both said the exact same thing the first time, which is kind of crazy. It, like, really shows you like how much that like if when they go through something like that, they rely on their dog.
And that's kind of what happened to Rickon too. He's like, he can't be with his fucking dog
so
now too.
I don't know if I'm trying to ask the same question Jeff's asking, where like is Sansa less of a Stark now because she doesn't have her dog? Like maybe, but I think the more important question is like, is Sansa worse off? And like, is she worse off? And I think the answer is obviously than she would have been with her wolf. Like all her other siblings are better off than she is just because they have a wolf that's basically like a better personal bodyguard than any person you could ask for, and also just like a companion all the time.
what do you think happens if Lady and Nymeria both get inside the castle walls?
Lady's dead.
He's saying what would have happened.
What if I just fucking said, what
Jesus
if?
Christ.
What if, you dumb fuck? That's
I
hypothetically
thought you meant like if
speaking.
Nymeria like snuck in right now.
What would have happened? That's a good question, Jeff. I don't think they could have lasted a while.
Nothing bad really happens to Arya or Sansa while they're there.
Yeah, but they can't be hanging out in fucking castle
I mean,
walls.
dude, their last chapters were really fucking bad.
I know, but
Like,
I'm saying until
Arya's-
that, right? So like all that happens is that the wolves are there when the bad shit goes down at
Yeah,
the
but
end.
even in the north, the people were like scared of them.
Right,
and
just imagine.
I don't think it helps Sansa.
Imagine. It, yeah, I mean, maybe not Sansa. Like Sansa's
Sansa's
never
just gonna
really
hide
in,
in
like,
a
the-
room. They're
the
gonna
mix
kill
of
with a
it.
crossbow
yeah, but
anyway.
they
right?
have to go and run around. I'm saying, like, no. Somebody's
Yeah, but
getting
I'm saying,
killed.
Chloe, just say that they both, Sansa and Arya, had their wolves in the last chapter that they went through. Sansa, I don't think it matters. I think they probably just killed the wolf with a crossbow. Arya, imagine if Arya is like when she's on the run, like has Nymeria by her side.
So yeah, I definitely agree. Like Sansa and Lady might end up being like a bitch dog. Like we didn't get enough of Lady. Like Lady might not want to actually protect. Like she might be just as
too
prissy
scared.
as
Yeah,
fucking Sansa.
that's a good point there, Jeff.
Like Nymeria is definitely fucking chewing Meryn Trant's face off, and Syrio lives.
I mean, he's still in
Oh,
full
yeah.
armor. I don't know if Nymeria wins that fight, but like just having Nymeria, like if somehow Arya got Nymeria,
2-on-1 now, dude. That. Oh my god.
I don't think
They're
either
definitely
of them,
winning
like,
that fight.
I agree with Jeff there.
I don't know how much having the wolf helps either of them, right? Because like,
Dude, are you serious? Greywind rides through war.
okay, but even if Arya, okay, so
That's a
fucking,
good point. That is another year of growth, though.
Dude, we're talking about the sword.
Okay, so Nymeria kills Meryn Trant. Then what?
She runs
fucking
back
peace
to
out.
Arya, and now they're fucking running through.
And then what?
Like, same
Syrio,
deal.
They make it to the.
At what
they
With
point-
make it to the ship.
Syrio, like it's a whole.
It's a whole different ballgame because Ciri's alive, is what you're saying?
And
Like, you can't just, like, be in Flea Bottom for 2 months like Arya is with a fucking direwolf. Like, that doesn't
dude,
fly.
she could probably
What do you
get
think?
on Nymeria's back and ride her back to wherever she wanted to go. Like, it's a huge game changer.
I mean, I would love to see it, but I think what would happen was, like, they would either catch Arya faster because she sticks out more because, like, oh, there's a fucking Stark with that fucking 2-foot-tall direwolf
Oh,
right there.
are we gonna go fucking stop that wolf thing?
The gold cloaks? Yeah, if we go fucking kill that, if the 6 of us go kill that wolf, we'll get 1,000,000 fucking golden dragons from the queen. Yeah, let's go try it.
There is not a shot. Those pussy ass
Somebody
golden
tries
cloaks
it.
are killing a dire wolf.
Somebody tries it.
So,
All right,
somebody's
moving on.
gonna try.
How do we even get here?
Six of them could kill her.
It's a good theory. I think kind of for
It's not a theory. It's just like
yeah, hypothetical. I think for the same reason Glow was kind of saying at the very beginning, like they need like room, like you can't just have wolves in that confined space. I think it is more almost would be more of a detriment than a. They just get him in trouble. They get him in trouble. Yeah, but it's not a Winterfell type castle. All right, what's next?
enough.
Glow, you have
They're
another
like-
thing?
they're
Yeah,
practicing
and then
fighting
at
for
one
war
point,
inside.
At one point, Bran's talking about. I couldn't find the quote again for some reason. You know how Rickard, Brandon Stark all went down. Ned, Catelyn.
Yep.
She
They went
names
south and Bones
he
came
names a
back.
bunch of people. I don't think he names Sansa, but he does name Arya.
I think he names them both.
Okay, because all of them, everyone
It's
else
right after
he
he talks
names
about Lady.
does not come back.
If you want to find it, it's right after he talks about Lady. He says Lady went south and only her bones came back, just like blah 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 blah.
Every other person he named doesn't make it back. Does Arya and Sansa make it back? Ever to Winterfell?
Yeah, I think they do.
Because their
But he does
wolves have
mention
already
them all.
died in their place. Maybe that's, or I guess Nymeria hasn't even died, but I think they make it back. They got to. We're in too deep.
Oh, I see. now.
Yeah, this
Father
is
had gone
Lady.
south.
She had gone south, and only her bones had returned. Their grandfather, old Lord Rickard, had gone as well, with his son, Sir Brandon, who was father's brother, and 200 of his best men. None had ever returned, and father had gone south with Arya and Sansa and Jory and Helen, Fat Tom, and the rest. And later, mother and Sir Roderick had gone, and now they hadn't come back either. And now Rob meant to go. Yeah, so there's a bunch of names. I was thinking the same thing, right? Like, are these all? Does that mean all these people are going to die? But we don't know about Arya and Sansa in the book. But I assume that at least one of them makes it back. I would hope. But I mean, who the fuck knows?
It's very true.
Yeah. Well, so I had two more little things that we didn't touch on. One is when Osha's talking about her lineage. She talks about her mother's mother's mother. Right, so it's like seems like Wildling, and maybe it might just be Osha, but potentially Wildling lineage is more matriarchal than patriarchal, right?
Yeah, at least for her.
I mean,
My
and
mother's
is there a
mother's-
chance that like she just doesn't know, like the dad's just kind of like fuck them and leave them type of deal?
But potentially. But the
That
reason
makes sense,
I
Jeff.
say that is I think there's later I think later there's theories that have to do with like Sansa having a matrilineal line of Wentz and being stolen by Lord Baelish in the Wildling fashion, right? So she gets like kind of married in the Wildling fashion, and if you look at her matrilineal line, it goes up a certain way up through Harrenhal. If you look at her patrilineal line, it goes up a certain way through Winterfell. I've heard theories that like have something to do with that before, so I just wanted to touch on it. Like I'm not going to go like that. That's all I'm going to say about it. Just later, if I mention like the Wildlings might have a matrilineal lineage system, is from this. Secondly, what do we learn in the last season of the show? Big thing. Who wins it all?
Bran.
Bran. Do you guys see anything in this chapter that like hinted at that?
What, like he says he doesn't want to be broken?
Well, is there anything that like just makes you think like, oh, this might be foreshadowing that Bran's gonna become king?
There was nothing in there that pointed me in that
I
direction.
don't know, man. I don't know if I looked that far.
I wasn't really looking, but I noticed one at the end.
That he's gonna be the king.
There's like a hint
Hodor,
that,
Hodor. Is that it?
a little before that. Not much though.
Hold the door.
Beyond the castle walls, a roar of sound went up. The foot soldiers and townsfolk were cheering Robb as he rode past, Bran knew. Cheering for Lord Stark, for the Lord of Winterfell on his great stallion, with his cloak streaming and Grey Wind racing beside him. They would never cheer for him that way, he realized with a dull ache. He might be the Lord of Winterfell while his brother and father were gone, but he was still Bran the Broken. He could not even get off his own horse except to fall. Just him saying that like no one will ever cheer for him that way, just like makes you think if he does become king in the end, people are definitely going to be cheering for him. People cheer for fucking Joffrey, and he's the worst king ever.
Yeah, I don't see the foreshadow.
I could see him getting crowned king, and him thinking back to this and being like, I remember as Bran the Broken in Winterfell when Robb was being cheered or whatever, right? Like,
Maybe.
I don't know, just stuck out. Like if he does become king, it's kind of ironic that he thinks that. Nothing crazy. But yeah, I think you guys got most of the points that I had. That was the only two little last things. Next chapter, Dany.
My girl.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and post and send us nudes.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.